Let us talk about this problem. We are given a number n. We need to print all prime numbers smaller than or equal to n. For example, if n is 10, the prime numbers which are smaller than or equal to 10 are 2, 3, 5 and 7. If n is 23, then the prime numbers smaller than or equal to 23 are 2, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, 17, 19 and 23. Please note that we need to print n also if n is a prime number. Now please pause this video and try to write down a function that takes an integer n as an argument and prints all the prime numbers smaller than or equal to n. Let us first talk about a naive solution to solve the problem, and then we'll talk about efficient sieve algorithm. So in the naive solution, we have simple idea. We run a loop from 2 to n. For every number, we check if it is a prime. If it is prime, then we print it. So I've written is prime here. I'm assuming that you have written is prime function, which takes an integer, returns a boolean value. It returns true if I is prime, otherwise it returns false. We talked about implementation of is prime in an earlier video. Here I have written print. So if you're programming in C++, you can replace print with cout, and if you're programming in Java, you can replace it with system.out.print. So what we do here, for example, if n is 10, we'll run a loop from 2 to 10, and every number which is prime will be printed because we are calling is prime for every number, and if the number is prime, we print it. So we'll get 2, 3, 5, 7 on the screen. Let's now talk about time complexity of the solution. So this loop is clearly theta n loop, and inside this loop we are calling is prime, and we talked about implementation of is prime. It was big O of square root of n time complexity. So overall time complexity of this solution is going to be big O of n into square root of n. Let us now talk about sieve of Eratosthenes algorithm to solve the problem. The idea of this algorithm is to create a Boolean array is prime of size n plus 1. We initialize this array as true, and we do not care about these two entries because when we talk about primes, we never access these entries. In the algorithm, we are never going to access these two cells of this array. So initially, we have marked all the numbers as prime, everything is true. And once we complete the algorithm, the entries which are primes are going to be true and everything else is going to become false. Let's see how does this algorithm marks composites as false. It only keeps prime numbers as true. So what this algorithm does, it begins with 2, and every number that you traverse, it goes through its multiples and marks them as false, right? So we begin with 2. And when we begin with 2, its multiples are 4, 6, 8. So we are going to mark these as false. 4 is marked as false, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18 and 20. We mark these as false, all of these as false. Now we come to 3. And we mark its multiples also as false. 6 is already marked as false. We mark 9 as false. 12 is already marked. So we come to 15 and we mark it as false. Then we come to 18. 18 is already marked. So that's how we mark the multiples of 3. Now we come to multiples of 5. 10 already marked. 15 already marked. 20 already marked. So if there was 25 also, we would have marked that false because 25 would not have been marked before reaching 5. Now if you take a look at this array, the entries 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13, 17 and 19 are true. And these are our prime numbers smaller than or equal to 20. So we have found the prime numbers using this approach. One thing you would notice here is I have not considered 4. I have written 2, 3 and 5. Why not 4? Because 4 was marked as false when we were considering multiples of 2. And there's no point traversing for the multiples of 4 because 2 divides 4 and every multiple of 4 would also be a multiple of 2. So they must have been marked already. So we consider multiples of only those numbers which are not yet marked. Now please pause this video and try to implement this algorithm yourself. Here is simple C++ implementation of sieve algorithm. We are going to talk about improved implementations later. Let's first discuss and understand a simple implementation. We have a function sieve that takes a number n as input, and this function prints all the prime numbers from 0 to n. What this function does, it first creates a Boolean array, right? We're creating a Boolean vector, and all the values in this vector are initialized as true. And size of this vector is n plus 1. See, if you're programming in Java, you can create a Boolean array and then you can use arrays.fill function to fill all the values as true. So for n equal to 9, our array is going to look like this. It's going to be of size 10, right? N plus 1 size, and all the values are initialized as true. So I have marked these two cells of this array as special because we are never going to access them. We don't care about the values inside them. Although they are going to be initialized as true, but we don't care, we never access. After we create the Boolean array, we run a loop for I equal to 2 to square root of n, and if is prime I is true, it means it was never marked false so far. Then what we do is we go through all the multiples of I and we mark there is prime as false. And at the end, whatever entries are true, whatever entries remain true, we print those entries. So let's understand the implementation with this example. When n is 9, so we are going to run this loop from 2 to square root of 9, which is 3. So we are going to run this loop for 2 and then for 3. So when you run for 2, you notice that 2's entry is marked as true, right? So you go inside this if condition and you go through all the multiples of 2 and mark them as false. So what multiples of 2 are here? 4, 6 and 8. We have marked these three entries as false now, right? After the first iteration. Now we begin the next iteration, which is for 3. And when we do the next iteration, we mark the multiples of 3 also as false. Multiples of 3 are 6 and 9. 6 is already marked as false. We again mark it as false. 9 marked as false. It was not marked as false by 2. So you can notice that after 2 iterations of the loop, the prime numbers have their values as true, right? 2 is as true, 3 is as true, and 5 is true. So after finishing this loop, we have this status of our is prime array or is prime vector. And what we do now is we simply traverse through is prime from index 2, and whenever we see a true value, we print that I, right? So we are going to print 2, 3, 5 and 7, and these are the prime numbers smaller than or equal to 9. Let us now understand working of this. So we are running a loop from 2 to square root of n. Now the question arises, why till square root of n? We have already discussed the same thing earlier videos also in the prime number videos. If you consider all divisors of a number, divisors always appear in pairs. The smaller of two numbers in every pair is always smaller than or equal to square root of n. For example, if you consider all divisors of 30, they are 2 and 15. This is one pair. And in this pair, 2 is smaller than square root of 30, right? 3 and 10, 3 is smaller. 5 and 6, 5 is smaller. So you always have a prime factor which is smaller than or equal to square root of that number. So if a number is not prime, then it's one of its prime factors must be in this range. And if there is no prime factor in this range, no divisor in this range, then the number is prime. That's the idea we are using. So we are considering from 2 to square root of n, and for every value of I, we are simply going through all the multiples of it and marking them as false, right? Because it's one of the smaller factors, and we go through all the multiples and mark those multiples as false, right? Because these are composite numbers, they're multiple of I. So we begin with 2i, then we go till n, and then we do j equal to j plus I, right? And after this loop, we have all the primes marked as true. So we simply traverse through this loop and traverse through this array and print all those entries which have values true. One more interesting thing to note here is if I is prime, then it will be having value true at this point, because you are considering the values in increasing order, right? So when you have reached I, you must have considered all the numbers from 2 to I minus 1 and considered their multiples. And if I did not have any of those numbers as factor, then I is definitely prime. So when you reach here, right, it means I is definitely prime and you are considering all the multiples of I. So you are mainly considering only the prime factors and then their multiples. For example, suppose n is 16, then you will have an array of size 17. You will first consider all multiples of 2 and you will mark them as false, right? You will mark these three as false, right? 10 and then up to 16. Then you will consider multiples of 3 and mark them as false. 3, 6, 9. Now when you come to 4, you will check for this condition first. And this condition is false, right? For 4, you have a value false. So you will not consider multiples of 4, and that makes a lot of sense also. Why? Because if anything which is a multiple of 4 will definitely be a multiple of 2 also. So when we considered multiples of 2, we must have marked all the multiples of 4 also. So we don't need to go inside this condition for non-prime numbers. We always go inside this only for primes. And when we go inside this is also ensure that I is prime, because we have considered all these smaller numbers. So that's the idea of working of sieve algorithm. Let's now talk about an optimization over the earlier implementation. So the optimization that we've done here is we have replaced 2i with I square. Let's see how does this work. So we are going to run a loop from I square to I square plus I to I square plus 2i and so on. Earlier, when we had 2i for I equal to 5, we were running a loop for 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, right? We are beginning with 2i. Now we are beginning with 25. Let's see how does this work. When you begin with 25, you ignore these three numbers, 10, 15, 20. And if you take a closer look at these three numbers, they have a smaller divisor than 5. See, we are running a loop from 2, right? So we must have run the loop for 2, we must have run the loop for 3, then we come to 5. So this has a divisor 2, this has a divisor 3, and this also has a divisor 2. The reason is simple. If there are composite numbers smaller than I square, then they will be of the form I into I minus 1, I into I minus 2, one of these forms, right? Or I into I minus 3, which means they have a smaller divisor as well, right? And these smaller divisors are already considered in the earlier loops. So there is no point remarking or marking those numbers again as false. So that's why we begin with I square. Here is our final shorter implementation of the optimized sieve. See, time complexity wise this solution is same as the previous one. Performance wise should also be same. The only thing is we have reduced the code length. What we are doing now, we are running a loop from I equal to I smaller than equal to n. Earlier this condition was I into I smaller than equal to n. So what are we doing inside this loop? We are printing I also. We have removed the separate loop. See, when I becomes more than square root of n, this loop, the inner loop will not run because it begins with I into I. So that way we can remove the other loop after the I square optimization. See, in the first code, we can't do this optimization, but with the second code, we can remove the loop because we are now beginning the inner loop with I square. So inner loop will not run when you have I more than square root of n, and you can extend this loop and you can print the prime numbers also in the same loop. So this is shorter and optimized implementation. Let's now talk about time complexity of sieve algorithm. Time complexity of sieve algorithm is big O of n log n. We are not going to go into the mathematical details of its proof because there is a long proof for the time complexity. But interesting thing here is this log n factor is very small. It's almost like linear. You can say this overall time complexity is almost like linear because log n grows very slow. And the naive approach that we discussed, that had time complexity as n into square root of n, which is n raised to the power 3 by 2. So this is much better than n raised to the power 3 by 2.